gonna matter if you don't vote. Register to vote. Register to vote. Register to vote. Register to vote. How your voice gonna matter if you don't vote? How your voice gonna matter if you don't vote? Register to vote. 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 Register to.
Will you vote for me?
Will you vote for me?
Will you vote for me?
Will you vote for me? Will you vote for me? Because climate change is a serious issue. We have about 10 years before the damage we've done is permanent. During this pandemic, we dropped CO2 emissions by at least 26%. If we can get that number up, then we can make that change actually mean something. You might think that more CO2 means hotter weather, and yes, that is true, but along with that is more rainstorms, more hurricanes, and growing deserts. But that's not the only problem. As the air fills with CO2, so does the ocean, making it more acidic. Soon enough, there will be little life in the seas, and the ocean makes up 50 to 80% of all oxygen on this planet. And with the Amazon being cut down, it doesn't help either. So help save the planet. Will you vote for me?
Will you vote for me? Drug addiction is currently one of the world's biggest enemies in our country, splitting up families, creating bad environments for people, and making them reliant on a chemical buffer that is ruining their mental and physical health. We need to end drugs today. With my help, I will supply everyone in need with free rehab and health care to reestablish sobriety in families in need. I will make sure that no one goes without family or friends because of drug abuse. There needs to be a change in society. The topic on drug abuse is a sensitive topic to me. It means so much because I've seen people lose friends and family members to this terrible, terrible thing. I am too young to vote. Will you vote for me?
Will you vote for me? Gentrification is a major issue happening now in the U.S. Neighborhoods are being torn apart and communities are being broken up. Gentrification erases the history and culture of communities. Sadly, people of color are a big victim of gentrification. It affects their lives in major ways. Families who are already struggling financially are forced to leave their homes because they cannot afford inflated rent costs. Yes, gentrification can bring economic opportunities to the neighborhood, but who are those opportunities for? We need to put policymakers into office who can be the voice of the streets. Unless we use the power of our voices, the people in power won't hear what we care about. I'm too young to vote, but will you vote for me?
Will you vote for me? Did you know that as of January 2020, there are about 555,000 people that are homeless in our country, the United States of America? It's easy to assume that a homeless person is lazy or has an addiction. But did you know that foreclosure, poverty, work issues, decline in public assistance, and domestic violence are all common reasons for homelessness? How would you feel if you or a family member were sleeping outside in below freezing or scorching hot weather? How would you feel if you or a family member were in need of assistance and everyone that could help ignored and walked past you as if you didn't exist? Offering my school lunch or the little bit of money I have is kind, but that's not enough. Real change will only come when there is necessary funding and legislation for the homeless.
Philadelphia and its outlying suburbs helped deliver Biden's victory. Katie Meyer is a political reporter who has been covering the leftward swing in the Philadelphia suburbs.
This kind of picked up speed during the Trump administration, but didn't start with the Trump administration. You know, college-educated voters have become disillusioned with the Republican Party. So we've been seeing that going back more than a decade now. The youth vote's very, very important. Absolutely. In Pennsylvania and nationally, I think it has a huge impact on elections. Young people, by and large, and this isn't just true in the 2020 election, it's always kind of been a truism, they tend to vote for Democrats. They're just more liberal voters.
And in talking to youth voters about who they voted for, they all said the same name.
Joe Biden.
I voted for Joe Biden.
Biden.
And in the 2020 election, 59% of the youth vote in Pennsylvania went for Biden, and only 39% went for Donald Trump.
I think just having a person in the White House who is able to handle domestic policy effectively and not be a national embarrassment is important, as well as definitely climate change, infrastructure, and just making sure that government's actually working for people as opposed for the 1%.
Generally for the election, it was really anybody but Trump, but in general, issues that are most important to me are immigration, such as treating people with respect and like with human rights, and also LGBTQ rights is very important to me because I don't understand why people would be against it. So it's important to me that they stay in place, and also women's rights such as Roe v. Wade and equal pay and various things like that.
Samir Hampton is a volunteer with PA Youth Vote. They're a nonpartisan organization that encourages youth turnout.
I know that we got a lot of younger people, especially like seniors at high schools, registered to vote just to make sure their voices were being heard.
Teens are ever more engaged, and Samir described how social media has an effect on the youth vote.
And, information was spreading rapidly. Some were good, some were bad, but I think that's really why, because information was being accessed at such a fast rate. So I think that's why it definitely got people riled up about different events happening, and we really, got to see the importance of voting.
The youth vote is becoming increasingly more important. According to the Center for Information and Research on Civic Learning and Engagement at Tufts University, nationally, youth turnout has gone from 39% in 2016 to 50% in 2020. Gen Z youth are making up an ever more large and important voting bloc. For the PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Labs, I'm Isaac Hart.
Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter. Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter. Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter. Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter. Too much negativity on the news. Try to avoid it cause it ruins my mood. I hear it on TV, wanna put it on mute. Gotta block it out, start blasting my tunes. Every day is either someone's killed or abused. Here's something good, now it's back to drug use. I could accept it all, but I'd rather refuse. It's sad to think that this is something that we're used to, and it's all gonna stay the same. Unless you say something, nothing's gonna shift or change. And it's all gonna stay the same. Unless you say something, nothing's gonna shift or change. Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter. Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter. Don't even get me started on politics. Hate to talk about it, let alone be part of it. I just let the system do its thing and reap the benefits. Scratch that, actually it's more like self-consequence. People say it's nothing but a pile of tricks. Government's made up of procrastinators and hypocrites. I always hear the same thing, I'm kinda sick of it. Politicians at each other's throats, hurling stones and sticks. And it's all gonna stay the same. Unless you say something, nothing's gonna shift or change. It's all gonna stay the same. Unless you say something, nothing's gonna shift or change. Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter. Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter. I'm really getting tired of hearing the folks like Floyd. Lives lost, having to plead from the other side of the void. There's so many victims of systematic racism, fighting off oppression with vigor, there's a stoic in them. 13 years of action was a voice for civil rights. From 55 to 68, the king's demise, somehow we still ain't get it right. But yet we still put up a fight for the rights of the people, trying to stay peaceful, but bits of anger escaped us. We let it out, and now the cops shooting citizens. People are burning buildings, but taking eye for an eye. Who gon' see the future, huh? Some thinking they mind, taking innocent people's lives is justifiable because the skin color's different than mine. Hold up. People from the same race are taking their own sisters and brothers, flat out killing each other, hating on one another. We say all lives matter, but the whole meaning shattered, cause the words don't match their actions, it's chatter. We all part of the same quilt with different patterns. This cold world will be warmer if we all stick together. A group divided ain't much of a group at all. A giant ain't a giant if it don't stand tall. If I don't speak up, who else gonna do it? If I don't speak out, who else gonna do it? You can complain or you can make improvements. You can sit around or stand up and start a movement. Say, if I don't speak up, who else gonna do it? If I don't speak out, who else gonna do it? You can complain or you can make improvements. You can sit around or stand up and start a movement. If I don't speak up, who else gonna do it? If I don't speak out, who else gonna do it? You can complain or you can make improvements. You can sit around or stand up and start a movement. MLK said it best. Don't let your lives end.
I am. I don't know how to finish it. I am a lot of things. I could be a lot of things. What would you want me to be? A fast food worker who gets no respect and a few days off? A farm worker who works sun up to sundown with no concern for her cough? I'm trying to get you to understand that I am not your trash. I just take it out. I'm not a job, so you can't replace me. I am more than four walls, so you can't demolish me. I'm a human just like you.
I am in a fight to 15, raise the wage, so that my debts can be paid. I am not Echo or Robert. I don't know how long I can keep moving. I am me, and that's the best person I can be. Martin Luther King Jr. said, if you can't fly, run. And if you can't run, walk. And if you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving forward. I am, I am, I am.
Change. It's something that we look for. Change. Oh yeah, it's knocking at the front door. Change. Is there anything more valuable than this? Hey, let's reminisce. 5, 6, 7, 8. The election of 2008. Oh, a day that would not stop nor wait. History would be made on that day. Oh, what did they say? Well, they said, today history has been made. Yeah, the seeds for our new start have been laid. Obama is your new president. A man who will be benevolent. Oh yeah, well that was back in 08. But he had a lot on his plate. Mr. Obama received a lot of hate. Oh well, in 2020 it was a strange year for you and me. Well, the chaos around us was not funny. A disease invaded our very lives and stole families and lived before our eyes. But was that it? Oh no, better sit. There is so much more story to tell. May came as the days fell. What made us think that everything would be fine? But little did we know, hours ago, a cop committed a crime. Murderous acts justified without even a semblance of facts. Bickering, crying, oh enough with the lying. Tears run down, men, women, and children frown as a rally call starts to aid the black and brown. 2021, the start of a new year. With all of 2020, a year we needed cheer. So filled with uncertainty and many, many, many fears, we have all of humanity waiting with open ears, praying for the emergence of a saving grace. We got people hoping this year doesn't smack them in the face. And we know that there are things to come shrouded in mystery. I know that there are things to come, but pray we don't repeat history. I can't see the future or what this year will hold, but let me tell you why I'm starting the year bold. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for some change. Things are perfect in this world, and we are the ones to rearrange. Thank you all for listening. That was 13 Years a Slave to Change by yours truly from Boston.
Speaker 4 is Jamin Washington.
Good evening. My name is Jamin Washington. I'm a current 12th grader at Parkway Northwest High School, and I'll be speaking on voter education and mass incarceration. I'm interested in voter education because of the systematic differences between the white and black populations. Today, most young adults don't realize that we are the future for elected officials in office to carry out our wants and desires. Growing up, I repeatedly saw white officials being in charge and never positively impacted my community. Essentially, voting for black people is a way to take back our power and gain control. meaning we as a whole need to recognize the importance of our vote. Even in my household, my parents always express how voting is necessary, especially being a young African American male in this state of emergency. The reason is often most young Black men are incarcerated or dead. This alone is why it's crucial to learn the fundamentals of voter education. Contrary to a Black to learn the fundamentals of voter education. Contrary to a Black mayor in Philadelphia and Obama being president a few years ago, I nevertheless wanted to know more about voter education. Because of this persistence, I needed to take the initiative, which I promptly plan on doing. On election day, I will be volunteering as a poll worker. As previously mentioned, being incarcerated takes away your ability to vote. Because of this, the social issue that I think is important to promote is mass incarceration, promptly because of how unjust the system is toward African Americans, especially Black men. Based on research alone, the jail/prison system remains another form of enslaving people. This primary reason remains the solitary way the white man can contain us. It is vital to highlight this social issue because it is currently an epidemic crisis. To conclude, voter education is probably one of the most beneficial things that you can learn about because it is necessary to understand why voting is essential, along with the social issue of mass incarceration because of the crisis that is currently taking place. Thank you.
How your voice gonna matter if you don't vote? How your voice gonna matter if you don't vote? Register to vote. Register to vote. Register to vote. Register to vote. How your voice gonna matter if you don't vote? How your voice gonna matter if you don't vote? Register to vote. Register to vote. Register to vote. Register to vote.
Dana Murray.
Good evening to you all. My name is Dana Murray, and today I'll be speaking about the voters' education policy and student loan forgiveness. I may not be an expert in civics, but I certainly know a little about the voters' education and registration policy. I know that the voters' education and registration for 18 years old before the upcoming election the chance to register to vote. The policy is also about educating high school students on the importance of voting and providing them with the necessary materials in schools to make registering accessible. According to a recent study, approximately 8,000 students in Philadelphia high schools became eligible to vote each year. And according to Pew Research, only 6% of students nationally are asked to register to vote in school. On the bright side, it's a proven fact that voter registration efforts in Philly schools helped to increase voters' turnout among 18-year-olds by 157% between the 2014 and 2018 midterm elections. I support the National Voters Education and Registration Policy. It's very important for the people to participate in the election for reasons such as voting for certain things to change and to vote for leaders who will represent them and advocate for their ideas. I'm well aware that a lot of people wish they had the chance to vote. However, just because they can't vote does not mean they can't participate in the election. There are other ways to help. For example, they can encourage and convince others to vote by going door to door or using a social media platform. Personally, I can't vote, but I registered to become a poll worker. I did this because I want to see what it's really like on election day since I plan on voting one day. If I could vote, I would vote for people that support student loan forgiveness because I believe that it's an issue that deserves a lot of attention from the elected officials. I care about this issue because it can affect me and my goals to attend college. Student loan is something that can follow someone generation after generation. These debts can stick with you for the rest of your life, which is not ideal. I strongly believe that college should be free, so charging students that much money and putting them in debt from such an early age is not okay. I know that these loans probably make it hard for students to focus on their courses, knowing that they're in debt. I feel as though if students do well in college or maintain good grades, their loans should be forgiven. Voters' education and registration policies are important because it's essential that everyone who is eligible to vote take advantage of that opportunity. Voters' education in school is also important because it's a great way to convince students to vote while teaching them the importance and the benefits. They need to know how big of a difference they can make just by casting a ballot. Students need to understand that their voices matter.
How your voice gonna matter if you don't vote? How your voice gonna matter if you don't vote? Register to vote. Register to vote. Register to vote. Register to vote. How your voice gonna matter if you don't vote? How your voice gonna matter if you don't vote?
Youth in Action is a global network of young people all over the world, young leaders who want to better their community.
Durante todo el proceso, jóvenes de diferentes regiones participamos en este espacio interactivo que estaba principalmente basado en el arte, y también fue un espacio donde intercambiamos no solo historias colectivas, sino también personales de cómo el racismo se ha internalizado de una forma consciente e inconsciente y pues ha repercutido en nuestra cultura y en nuestra identidad.
People normally just say like our young people are the leaders of tomorrow, but if you gave them the opportunity, they could lead today.
We are not destroyers, we are peacemakers.
We are not followers, we are leaders.
We are not at risk, but we are agents of change.
We are not questions, we are answers.
We are change agents, activists, powerful peacemakers. We are not at risk. We are agents of change.
Vote that John.
Vote that John. Vote that John.
It is John, isn't it?
Of course, we're in Philly. Just say it.
She's not listening.
Vote that John. Vote that John. Vote that.
Too loud.
We always do it too loud.
We are the vote spirits.
Vote angels.
Vote ancestors.
Too much. Stop with the name changes.
Come on, we're only live for 90 seconds. She needs the facts.
Okay, listen up. You're going to be 18 by voting time, and you're an American citizen, so you gotta vote, capiche? So head over to votethatjohn.com and click on the register to vote button. And heads up, if you live in Philly, your city and county are both Philadelphia. All you need to register to vote is a PA's driver's license, a PIN.ID, or a social security number. And I know you got at least one of those.
We've seen them. She could do it on her phone online. 20 minutes.
But what if she loses it?
Like when she dropped it in the toilet.
Remember that?
What a mess.
Okay, calm down.
More than 20,000 18-year-olds live in Philadelphia, in high school, college, working, in between. Just think, what if each of us came out to vote? Just think what would be possible.
Register by October 19th to vote on November 3rd.
Honestly, society in a whole more so does not listen to young people. People see as a view that young people are just too young to understand politics or anything like that. It's just that they're just naive little kids that don't understand anything about the real world. If you actually listen and really think about what we're saying, it's the fact that we do understand and the fact that we strive to know this knowledge as well as help fix it.
Check.
You'll be welcome in the public.
Amandla! Away to! Amandla! Away to!
I would like to say in most situations when we bring family together,
it's to celebrate. But I would also say that family is even more important when one of ours is done wrong.
The people sitting in the offices in front of me need to listen to the story of the Gardner family and understand that the value in creating a complete system for students and parents to use goes beyond the desires of the Philadelphia Student Union. The conversations should not stop until a solution is reached and sustained.
My first protest was last year, and we went to the school district, and basically like we were just all out there, you know, chanting in front of the school district and stuff, and I feel like it made a difference when like people were just walking up to it, like asking like, oh, what is this for, and stuff like that. And it's just like, it feels good when you have people supporting what you support too.
You know, from the moment young people leave their house, you know, they're being confronted with different levels of oppression. They're being told that what they see is not valid. They're being told that if you choose to challenge, we would rather prioritize maintaining control rather than really taking time to think that, you know what, this is an opportunity for us to talk critically. That's what education is supposed to be.
The future belongs to those who prepare for it today, right? Y'all ready?
Start today.
We start preparing. And part of that is doing exactly what we've done, is like thinking about what we want to do. Now, we're gonna start working out ways to get there.
I think that's
I would do it. I'm extra.
When given the option to talk about what they would like to see, what I notice is that initially there's a bit of timidity because young people are often overlooked and not given the option to have a say in their own lives. So initially it's, wait, what do you mean? I can say it, and it's like, yes, in this moment.
Way similar. Way litter though, like actual parties, but like the campaign is the same, like there's a...
I got a question.
There's not always spaces where like your opinion matters and you have like, you can change it or like even help to change it. In most situations that have to do with school decisions, I feel like students should have some type of say because teachers, they know, but they don't really know what's going on all the time 100%, or principals or even counselors. I feel like students can be like the one to step in and like have a say.
I mean, I've been here for a long time, but I feel like I've been here before, you know. Instead, we're feeling just like, oh, I just feel I like it's comfortable and stuff, and so I feel like this changed me to basically make me be more expressive, make me be able to speak more out and stuff, you know, keeping things in. Because when I was younger, I always like tend to keep things in with me because I always assume that I'm wrong and people are right. But now I feel like if I speak out, I could be right.
I guess like it's have one right here and have more PSU areas, like I guess more places. I guess
We would have to get more people involved.
Yeah, exactly. I know exactly, which is kind of cool.
We envision creating a space, you know, where young people can organize and talk and develop and engage and strategize and just like be really like free, you know, where they can be free from a world that's telling them who they are based on how they look or based on, you know, whatever background they come from.
This is one of the few places I feel comfortable actually being myself, instead of having to sometimes hide behind that mask and hide some of the features about me. These are people that's not just allies or friends, like this is people I see here as family.
Definitely the role of an organizer is never to tell students what to do or how to do, it's to tell them that they can do. Eliminate those words like can't, never. Anything that you want to do is a can. Anything you want to do is always going to be a do. We just want to help you with doing it.
So I think what PSU seeks to do is to allow that energy, right, that fresh vision, those fresh ideas, to channel that into a world that we've all been envisioning.
Yeah, I would definitely say there's no better feeling than when it clicks, that aha moment. We don't give young people the answers to a lot of the very difficult questions that they come up with solutions to. Without giving them the answer, you don't rob them of that opportunity to be like, wow, I had the answers this whole time. I can't trade that. It's amazing.
I like that we actually came together and thought about stuff like this, because most of the time we just off doing our own thing. And so we actually got the time to encourage each other to do more?
Favorite part is the positivity. Like everybody here is so positive, and you know it's lit. You know everybody's together, loving each other and stuff. So yeah, that's love right there, man. Love all of you.
I'd say that the best part was overall looking towards the future, because it's overall it's one thing to have plans, but to actually have an idea and make it noticed by the whole group, to see what other people think and to get an idea of what we can do moving on.
You know, if somebody's walking in as a freshman, I want us to be thinking about what does their life look like when they're 30. Young people are not being prepared to lead and to change society. And once they leave school, they're really left to fend for themselves. And for us as an organization, we feel that that is not only unjust, but it's a missed opportunity. There's young people who are walking around with ideas that if they were given the space and the support, can really shape our city, you know, saying our state and our country.
We're not just going to sit back and just take all this information and just going to just throw down our throats and just make us believe. And we're not going to sit there and just take that.
TSU is on the rise.
That's why we organize.
Police cops in our schools.
That's why we organize.
Trying to hold us all back.
That's why we organize. That's why we organize. That's why we organize.
What up, y'all?
A lot of organizations involve students, but there's very few where there's students as the executive director, as the advocacy coordinator. Like, that stuff you don't see. So having students on the front lines in meetings, going to decision makers and saying this is what we need, what we want in our schools, that's extremely powerful. Hey, my name is Luke Risher. I am the Programs Director at Urbed Advocates, and I'm a product of the Philadelphia school system in Philadelphia.
I think this organization really just helped me meet my own goals from my own life, you know. I've seen a lot of things in the city I haven't been proud of, but it's always like a feeling of how can I even begin to change any of these things. It just seems like the world is so big sometimes, and it's like no way to get involved. So I think what this organization provided most importantly to me was an avenue to get involved, to get inside the process, to get inside those rooms and really see the world changing around me and not feel like I'm trapped inside a system that's like, you know, inevitable.
Urbed is a by student for student nonprofit. So what that means is it was started by a lot of high school students when we said we believe that students should be leading the movement around reforming education. We and students across the city know that education is not given to us like it should be. Our schools are deprived of resources, of money, of support, of mental health support, they're over-policed. You know, there's all these issues that are impacting us as students, and we should be ones that are helping lead that battle of reforming urban education, basically.
Vote that John.
Yeah. Ha! Vote that. Vote it. Vote that. Vote it. Vote that. Vote it. Hey. Vote it. Hey. Vote that John, would you vote that? Vote that. Vote that John, did you vote that? Yup. Vote that John, you should vote that. John. Vote that John, did you vote that? Of course. Vote that John, did you vote that? Yup. Vote that John, would you vote that? Yup. You should vote that. John. John. Don't be drunk. Vote that John. Hey. Don't be drunk. Hey. Better vote that. Better vote that. John. Hey. Your vocals go in numbers, your community will speak for you. Vote that John lit, just unify, no way that they can ignore you. Read the contents and they fine prints, grab a monocorn, be inclined with the sublimeness of the master of ceremonies. Drop a free game with the homies, use your vocals, go in numbers, your community will speak for you. Vote that John lit, just unify, no way that they can ignore you. When you hit that booth just to charge a vote, ain't no PS4, it ain't stand up, bro. Don't you hesitate, nor walk away with shame, cause you so spoken, it's the whole.
Vote that John, don't be drawn, man. I know you got a voice, not really fond of what's going on, man. You know you got a choice, you promote that. Better vote that, John. You promote that, John. Better vote that, John.
The vote is important, a chance to lead the dance and pay choose your fortune. We are fortunate, a chance is awarded, but I wonder what keeps you from soaring. Put that ballot in the box, not your mind. I bet that ballot in the box, free your mind. Vote that, better vote that, vote that, vote that, vote that, better vote that. John, vote that, better vote that, vote that, better vote that, vote that, better vote that, better vote that. John, vote that, better vote that, vote that, better vote that, vote that, better vote that. John, vote that, better vote that, vote that, vote that, vote that, better vote that. Flex your freedom to express what you need from the governing body. Don't be bashful when it comes to accountability for the rights they providing or maybe denying. It's up to us to govern the government. Better vote to set precedents all the way up to president. Vote that John, don't be John, I know you got a voice. Not really fond of what's going on, you know you got a choice. You promote that, better vote that John. You promote that, better vote that John. You promote that, better vote that, better vote that John. I think it's time to change the norm. We just evolving with the climate, what you on? Vote that John, vote that John. It's a new day, it's a new life, it's a new dawn. Vote that John, vote that John, vote that John, vote that John. It's a new day, it's a new life, yeah, and it's a new dawn. Peace.
Before, my life was made of string, threads surrounding and suspending me, made of obligation and opportunity, hopes and dreams, relationships and community, a web woven from strings of connection, and me at the center. My strings gave me a path to follow, a structure I could depend on. These strings that I spun around myself blinded and constricted me, but they protected me. In my web, I knew the way, and I was safe. In the blink of an eye, my strings are slashed apart, every connection cleanly and coldly cut by an unfeeling blade. Shocked, I flail, grasping for anything, but my web is in tatters, and each thing I try to grasp slips through my fingers. Without my web to support me, I begin to fall through space until I land broken in the dark below. I lay there on my side, motionless. The darkness isn't new. But without my strings, I can't find the path. And in the dark, for the first time in a long time, I can think. Without the web pulling at me and consuming my every thought, I start to reflect on myself. I realize without the web fastened tight around me, I can breathe. And I do. And air rushes into me and I see light, an inner light. I start to discover myself, because I am the only thing I have. In the dark, I keep breathing, following what it shows me. I collect pieces from my darkest corners, things I have always known but never really considered. My uncomfortability with femininity, my love of stories, my ability to make. These pieces form a new picture of me. And in the dark, with no one to see and nothing to hold me back, I begin to change. My breath and its light fills me, and I can see. It is exhilarating and beautiful. I never imagined how much of myself there is, and the light shines through all of it. Now I don't know why I ever needed the web. I am all that I need, and so I plunge into the darkness. The web was a net, and I a helpless creature ensnared, but I have broken free, no longer impaired. I begin to be glad that it is gone, because now I am free. Lost in the emptiness, my light flickers, and something else begins to grow. A darkness that creeps up silent, silencing all, deadening all. Not at once like a gag of chloroform. That would be too simple. No. Silencing, deadening, like every single light being snuffed out, until you are lying alone in the dark, having convinced yourself that this is right. that it's right to be alone in the dark, and the emptiness inside is the only way to be safe. If you feel nothing, you can't feel pain. If you are forever alone, you can be safe in yourself, in the dark, right? The pain of lack is temporary. It will fade with time. The pain of pulling away from everyone you love can't compare to the pain of that love being broken by another. Better to let it all fade away into the dark. This isn't right. It can't be. But this is the path I have chosen, and I can't turn back. A pull at my wrist. A thread. A single thread curled around it. Its touch is soft, caring. I pause, torn. The darkness has done nothing but hurt me, but if I follow the thread, it will lead me back to the web, and nothing will have changed. Either way, I will be blind. My hand strays down to the thread at my wrist. Absently, lost in thought, I unwind it. As my fingers grasp around it, a soft light blooms from it. I grasp it more firmly, and the light brightens. I slide my hands further down it, and the light follows, so I follow it, using the thread to guide me and the light it casts to light my way. As I follow, my breath returns to fill me, and my own light returns to me. I follow the light to my broken web. Looking up at its tattered strings, I see no more grandeur or fear. It is something broken that should be fixed. A tattered tapestry. My tapestry. Almost thoughtless, I reach up to grasp the threads and pause, hand hovering. Is this really right? Will it be any different? I breathe and make a choice. I grab the threads. I will make it different. The threads blossom with light at my touch.
So we're here with Ms. Ramona Africa, the last living survivor of the 1985 MOVE bombing, an activist, and all-around amazing, beautiful person. So I guess first things first, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing? Staying safe in this crazy time?
Yeah, I've been staying inside and exercising.
Okay.
So let's say my first question, how have you seen Philadelphia change over the years and stuff? Or how's your perspective of Philly changed?
Not much, to be frank, because young men are still being shot down on the streets by police. I mean, we lost 11 people at one time with the bombing, but hundreds of young men are being shot down on the streets by police. So nothing really has changed.
Oh man, we're definitely talking about that in the show. I guess, would you say what are some tips that you have for people today, young people today, for getting involved in the communities, getting on the move?
Well, the first thing that people need to do is stop believing in this system and its officials, because none of them are any good. You have to stand up for yourself, fight for yourself, think for yourself. Otherwise, nothing is going to change. I mean, look at Trump. You know, he told people from the beginning of this insanity, take hydrochloric, whatever it's called, and now he's saying he's taking it. But all the doctors and medical officials are saying it's dangerous, you know? So how do you believe in any of these officials?
Oh, man. Thank you so much. So yeah, what are some things about that you see that activists are doing today that you feel maybe MOVE spearheaded back in the day, back then?
feeding people, food bombs, helping people with their gas bills, building wood-burning stoves for them so they could keep warm in the winter, you know, things like that. That's what we did for people. We virtually put an end to the gang warfare in Powhatan Village by showing people that we are not each other's enemy, you know, that it's the system that we need to fight, those representing the system, and not attacking college students like at Drexel and University of Penn, because we had young black people confused and thinking they were the enemy, these young students from Drexel and the University of Penn, when they weren't the enemy at all.
No, this is, thank you so much. This is beautiful. Keith, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. I'm just here to put out information. Oh, you were talking to your friend.
Yeah, it's fine though. I still have a little bit. I'm just looking through my questions real quick.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
What would you say to anybody trying to go into the system to make change?
Well, like I said, the first thing people have to do is change their thinking and stop believing in this system. Stop thinking that it works for them, that they could get something good from this system. That's one of the first things that MOVE's founder, John Africa, taught us. Stop believing in this system, because what have you gotten from it? What good have you gotten from this system? Nothing. Except brutality, you know, heartache, nothing good. It's like a woman, a wife that keeps getting brutalized and keeps saying to herself and other people, well, he doesn't really mean it. He only does it when he's frustrated at work or whatever. And they keep making excuses. And that's what people do with this system instead of letting it go and thinking for themselves.
Do you have any recommendations for, like, I don't know, something like our listeners could read, or like something we could check out, I guess, to really like find ways to think outside of the system, like you were saying?
Well, I don't really know of any books that could give you the information you're looking for. It has to come from you, from inside you, from the way you start thinking. Because what John Africa taught MOVE did not come from the system, its school, its writers, or anything like that. We had to do that. I graduated from Temple University, but I didn't learn any of this in all my 14 years of schooling. And I went to Catholic school, which my mother thought were, you know, better schools than public schools. But they taught me about Jesus Christ, but they never mentioned that Egypt was in Africa. They never taught me that. So you're not going to learn what you're looking for in this system school or its writers or anybody that comes from the system.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because when you think about Western civilization and the way, if you one of my professors, well, he was my professor, he taught Black Studies or Africana Studies at CCP, and he was saying how to reach Tukala, which is really a part of African cosmology. You can't learn in a system like one that's in America, but you have to go to Africa or learn from teachers and books that aren't from, I guess, white professors and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it brings up a good point that people are unwilling to unlearn, and how it can be a scary thing at first, but when you unlearn, I guess you can really open your eyes to many truths, I guess.
Well, some other things that people need to do, because I remember this one sister when we were having rallies for Mumia, and trying to get them off of death row, which we did. I mean, we haven't got them out of prison yet, but we got them off of death row. Anyway, she used to come by City Hall where we had rallies and say, well, I'm for the death penalty. If anybody, raped or killed my daughter, I want them executed. And after a while, she came back. I mean, like a year or so later, she came back and worked with us to free Mumia. And she had changed her thinking completely. There was another woman who basically was saying the same thing. She was for the death penalty. She wasn't against the death penalty. And then her son got murdered by police. She was a professor at Temple. And I guess because of her status, she thought that such a thing couldn't happen to her or in her life. And the cops killed her son. Then suddenly she was pro death penalty, So people can change. This system can change people. And what we have to do is be around and work with people to get a better understanding and to start changing our thoughts about this system.
Do you have any, that was amazing. Do you have any closing statements?
Yeah, just that, everybody is either in prison or knows somebody in prison. And when that's the case, and you see that only black people, Spanish people, natives of this country are in prison, and only a few Caucasians and hardly any cops, then you know something is wrong. I mean, on August 8th, 1978, 9 of my sisters and brothers went to prison for something they didn't do, for the murder of a cop that they didn't do and that the government knew that they didn't do. And they spent 42 years, almost 42 years, it would have been 42 years this August, in prison for something they didn't do. They locked me up after May 13th of 85, after the bombing, and gave me 7 years in prison for trying to kill me, for me surviving. So, people need to look at these examples and realize that something is wrong and that we are our only salvation. Only we can save ourselves and change what's happening to us.
So yeah, that was our interview with Ramona Africa. I want to say thank you so much for your wisdom and for everything you've been saying. And
let me say that all the wisdom that you heard from me or any MOVE people came from John Africa, because I didn't learn any of this in Catholic school or at Temple University. John Africa taught me everything you heard today.
Hi, my name is Maxie Mandel. I'm 16 and I'm a singer-songwriter from Philadelphia. I wrote this song called The Reckoning after I went to one of the protests for George Floyd after his murder in Philly. And I was so inspired by everybody marching in the streets, rallying for justice, that this song is just kind of an anthem of hope, I feel like, about how powerful our generation is and how we can fight to achieve change.
Justice! When do we want it? Now! When do we want justice? When do we want it? Now! When do we want justice? When do we want it? Now!
Crowds of people line the streets, fists raised in solidarity. Amid the chaos, rage and lies, hope ignites here in prosperity.
We got a show with youth when we introduce what you want to hear about. We talk about our truths and give you news from out our studio. So come in tune and get you moving. We need you to hear us out.
Hear us out. Hear us out. Hear us out.
Yeah, yeah.
Hear us out.
What?
Hear us out. Hear us out. Hear us out. Hear us out.
I want to be able to express myself with the things I want to wear. I don't want to be forced to wear something that I don't want to wear. I feel like it goes against what I want to do.
Okay, so let's speak in broader terms. Do you think schools in general, with all the rules and regulations, restrict your First Amendment? Shane?
Not fully, because like going back to like what you said earlier about like there's like a lot of people feel as though they have to express themselves through their clothing, but even if you feel that way, which there's no problem with that, I feel as though that there should be you should have more than just one way to express yourself.
What's up, y'all? We back with Hear Us Out, and we here with 13-year-old Trey Brown, entrepreneur, clothing designer, and overall businessman. And we're going to be getting to know him through a short interview.
That's So Raven.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Trey Brown. I'm a 13-year-old entrepreneur and CEO of Spurgo. Spurgo is a catchy name I came up with, combining sports and all my personal heroes, positive people all around the world that I look up to. And I chose the lion as a part of my logo because the lion represents power, strength, and courageousness, just like me, because I'm powerful, I'm strong, and I'm courageous. My desire is to empower everyone across the world through my clothing brand, Spurgo.
Now it's time to meet Philadelphia-born music group, the Yahoos, the young African heroes out of sympathy.
Yahoos, new group, new raps, new views, 6 guys, 12 shoes, black, red, no blue. Yahoos, new group, new tracks, new views, all dubs, no lose. We mainstream, y'all old news.
We are some Yahoos, young dreadhead with Cantu. On my feet is some new shoes, my arm is your new boo. If you run verse, you can get that. It don't matter much, make it right back. Go so hard, gotta kick back. If you toxic, please get back. I don't need that in my life now. Ain't no room for it in my lifestyle. Just upgrade and they like how the new pipe sound. When the pipe growl, I don't get on. I just go off, go crazy on them, then I go wild. 5th kid might as well be the only child. I don't know why I trust us, they know we go wild. Flow for a while, bar so calm, I'm a soul child. And I just spit, I don't smile. I stand my hand, I'm not caught. And I can't go for a whole while. I can keep going all day. I can spit it any way. Ain't no limit to what I can say.
Yahoos, new group, new raps, new
tune and get you moving. We need you to hear us out.
Hear us out. Hear us out. Hear us out.
Yeah, yeah.
Hear us out.
What?
Hear us out. Hear us out. Hear us out. Hear us out.